Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to an educational, informative video on a little bit of Nia. Oh wait, I mean Julie. I said Nia because Nia has the exact same jacket, but I tell you what, Julie looks great in this outfit. Now let's talk about our build real quick, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to be able to see what I'm currently running and why I recommend it. Now, there are a lot of different ways to build this killer. I put Legion as the weakest, if not one of the weakest killers in Dead by Daylight. Some of you will disagree with that, but keep in mind my builds are based off no add-ons, versing people in the red ranks. This build is what I've been running recently, and believe it or not, it's been really freaking good. It's been really good with and without add-ons. Now, I'll talk you through that in a minute. What I want to talk about is some basic numbers and understanding Legion's ability. Legion is also known as the guy or the girl, or whatever you want to refer to them as that kind of person that has the rubber blade. That sounds horrible. Cut the video. Cut the video. Let's try that again. Alright. Okay, cool. I was gonna bring up the fact they have a rubber knife. Okay, let's try again. Alrighty guys, and welcome back. Today we're going to be looking at an educational, informative Legion video of what I recommend running, and I just got to quickly say massive shout out to the devs for making a fantastic Nia, Susie skin. I said that because Nia wears this same jacket. She does look fantastic in the skin. So what are we going to be pointing out? We're going to be pointing out this is the build I recommend for the red ranks. Now there are other builds, but this is what I've had the most success with against really good survivors. As of the fact that the meta right now is not healing and slamming down gens, this works really well for me because a lot of people try and pallet stun Legion so they can't use their ability, but I'll be talking about that in a second. Let's talk really quickly about the ability. Now Legion is commonly known as having a rubber knife based on the fact when they use their ability, they pull the knife upside down, they'll make a heavy panting sound, and they're going to be able to run at 130% movement speed. Default killer movement speed is going to be 115%, so they only receive a 15% benefit, but that is still really fast. They're also going to have that for 10 seconds by default. They'll have the knife up, they're going to be able to run at 130% movement speed for 10 seconds. When they hit a survivor with Feral Frenzy, you will hear pulsations or very fast heartbeats, which will be other survivors within your terror radius of 32 meters. This can obviously be changed by running certain add-ons. However, this being said, when you M1 a survivor, if you M1'd him with no matter how much of the timer is done, it will instantly reset. Therefore, you can run and get the other person. That survivor is now in borrowed time status effect, therefore he needs to mend. The issue with Legion, which really hurts them. So what's good about Legion? Legion can vault a pallet while their ability is activated and vault a window at a very fast rate. Therefore, they can get their ability to activate. Their ability is all about injuring survivors. Not downing them, but keeping them injured. This being said, when you fast vault a pallet, it takes 0.9 seconds. Much faster than breaking it, except it doesn't destroy it. Therefore, if you activate your ability, survivor pulls a pallet down, you can vault the pallet, you can then M1 the survivor. However, you cannot turn around and break the pallet. You have to cancel your ability. You can only activate your ability when it's fully charged, much like the spirit, so keep that in mind too. When Legion cancels his ability or his ability timer runs out, they will look, or her ability timer, they will look at their hands and look down for 4 seconds. This is why I put the killer in the bottom tier in terms of how strong they are in Dead by Daylight. 4 seconds is a long time. They lose pretty much all their movement speed. They can't build Bloodlust. They can't build Chase. They're looking at the ground. If you looked at the survivor before you look at the ground and you have play with your food, you're in Chase, and you're going to end Chase because you're looking down. Normally, looking down doesn't end Chase, but while you activate your hand ability as Legion, it does end Chase. So keep that in mind. You're going to get a stack really fast. It does take 20 seconds to get your ability back. If you manage to run around the entire board and use the 130% movement speed for distance, it'll take you 20 seconds to wait for that timer to reset. Now, there is a green add-on you can run as well, which is going to add, I think it's considerable amount of time. Considerably. That adds 2.4 seconds to your duration. So now your duration is not 10 seconds, it's going to be 12.4 seconds. So keep that in mind. That could be very good to keep in mind. So looking at our build here, we have a gen protection perk, we have a situational awareness perk, we have a stall perk, we have a utility perk. That is the basic way of how to build a killer. I could tell you I do not follow those principles as Legion. Now, even though Legion is one of the weaker killers in the game, I have to play this killer in a different manner. I have to play this killer in a different manner to be able to come out on top for the vast majority of chases. If I were to run add-ons with the build I'm currently running, I would be running these two here. This is going to increase how far away you can detect a survivor, but generally, When a survivor hears your heartbeat, they'll leave running really early. I personally love this add-on right here, which is duration, and I love this other add-on here, which is Mending. So what does this do? This space is broken status. After you activate your ability on the first target hit, if you are to hit any other targets, they cannot heal for 60 seconds. They can mend, but they can't use self-care. They can't use a med kit. I really love that add-on. Basically, what does that mean? That means they're going to be injured. And if they're injured, they're more likely to utilize a pallet. They're more likely to pallet stun me. They're more likely to give me something to allow me to build Play With Your Food Nemesis. So what does Corrupt Intervention do? Corrupt Intervention seals generators at the start of the trial. It'll seal the 3 furthest generators from my current location of where I spawned, and survivors cannot work on them for 120 seconds. The generator will glow white, and the entity's hand will be covering it, and survivors will see this, and they'll know they're not going to be able to work on it. Under no circumstances can a survivor work on that generator. Surge, what does it do? When I down a survivor, not hurt them or injure them, but put them into dying state, Surge will activate. When Surge activates, this basically allows me to cause all generators within not my heartbeat, but within 32 meters, all generators within 32 meters will instantly explode and regress 8%. This is very good for Legion because time management is important. You don't want to overcommit to how much time you're spending in trying to activate your ability, alright? You getting around the board using your ability, you still have to look at your hands for 4 seconds. That can be very hard to time manage efficiently, yeah? So saving time by having gens automatically regress, not having to run up to the platform and kick the gen with Pop Goes the Weasel before going through the board, it's going to really help me in the long run, and it can play towards a 3-gen strat. It can also play towards slugging a guy under a generator if you think he has DS, and then run straight across the board rather than regressing his Jenny. I then have Play With Your Food. You become obsessed with one survivor. Once you enter chase and end chase without putting the survivor into dying state, you can still hurt them. You can still use your special ability to hit them with the rubber knife and then make them have to mend because of the borrowed time effect. You can still do that. Once you M1 them, you will receive 5% movement speed. Yes, the 5% movement speed does stack with Feral Frenzy 130% movement speed. Therefore, if you had maximum stacks, you would be moving at 145%. If you swing and hit a target, it does count as a lethal hit. Therefore, you'll consume a stack. Be very careful with that. Keep these things in mind as well. The thing that makes this work really well with Legion is going for, this is what allows you to catch people at the jungle gyms off guard. Okay, you've got Nemesis. What is Nemesis? If you pallet stun me, if you blind me, if you decisive strike me, if you head on me, if you do any of these features, you then become the obsession. This means I do not have a heartbeat for that player for the next 60 seconds. They will still be within my heartbeat, but they won't be able to hear it, keeping that in mind. This also means they're my obsession, therefore when I look at them, I will be able to build a stack of Play With Your Food as long as I don't put them in dying state. If I run up to him and I hit him with Mend, or force the rubber knife effect of Feral Frenzy, and then run away, I'm running away at 135% movement speed, as opposed to running away at 130. I can then apply the lethality to a different person who hasn't healed, who's trying to apply pressure towards objectives. Now, I'm not saying this is the best Legion build. I'm saying this is the build that I recommend, that I run on Legion, that works really well against rank 1 survivors. Generally at rank 1, people are going to try and gen rush you and split pressure, and they're going to be mending right in your face based on the fact that when you cancel your ability, you can't do anything for 4 seconds. They can make it to a window, they can make it to a pallet, they're really comfortable. Legion is one of the weakest, if not weaker, killers in the game, in my personal opinion and experience of playing the game. What are honorable mentions? I do recommend Surge, but realistically, if you don't like the idea of Nemesis Play With Your Food, you can go Pop and Thrilling Tremor for the stability on gens. Try and keep everyone injured. Understand what pallets to respect, to break. You could run Enduring. I don't recommend that because a lot of Legions will either go for the pallet break or not. Some Legions like Bamboozled as well. That way they bamboozle a window. It allows them to vault faster with their ability active, M1 the survivor, and then run down the road, or, you know, force them to utilize the jungle gym with only the pallet at the disposal. So there are other things you can run, but like I said before, this is definitely what I recommend. They do have some interesting add-ons, Legion, but I'm not going to get into too many details. I'm not a Legion expert. But I do understand some of the movement speeds and how to play the killer decently to 4K for a vast majority of games. I will still get destroyed sometimes, especially if survivors know how to counter Play With Your Food Nemesis by dropping pallets early. It might sound silly, but sometimes maps have an overwhelming amount of pallets, like a map such as The Mountain. Also, I wouldn't say the game, because you can hide your light moonwalk and force them to hit pallet stun you if you play correctly on that map. So do keep that in mind. But guys, that is going to be all for this educational video on Legion. I'll have more informative Legion content up on YouTube real soon of me running this exact build, so you're going to be able to see it in action. I'll do some with add-ons and some without add-ons, and you guys can see the difference. Also keep in mind, Legion, I wouldn't say is horrible on any map, but I wouldn't say they're great on any map. Obviously, they're going to excel on maps like the game, as opposed to maps like Hattonfield, but they can still make pretty crazy comebacks, especially running this build based on the fact that people don't expect that additional 5% movement speed that you can punish them with. Because when you're versing Legion, because you know they can't catch you fast, you generally utilize jungle gyms much more than you normally would. Therefore, when you make crazy mind game plays, or you have that additional 5% movement speed people don't expect, you can really catch them out. Keeping in mind, your killer lunges based off your movement speed, with the exception. So if you notice Feral Frenzy, you might see Legion ages away and use Feral Frenzy and hit you. That's because he's lunging off incredible movement speed. Normal M1s will be lunging off 115% movement speed, but with Play With Your Food, you lunge off 120% movement speed, which is enough lunge distance to catch somebody that dead-hearted in a straight line, just so you know. Something to keep in mind. Anyways, guys, that's all for the video. Make sure you hit that subscribe button for the YouTube algorithm and to support the stream. It'd be great to have you guys pop into the live stream where I stream DBD 5 days a week over on Twitch. It'd be good to have you in there. But guys, thank you all so much for watching the video. Stay safe, stay awesome. And let me know in the comments down below, what Legion build do you run? Do you think Legion is weaker than Clown? Do you think Clown is stronger? Let me know. It's very interesting to see what a lot of you guys think. And let me know your opinion behind the reason. Anyways, guys, take care, be safe, be awesome, and I'll see you in the next video.